I told you it was going to be a game changer. We're taking our indoor GreenStalk outside, hardening off the vegetables, and setting up our new watering system. Guten gardening, everybody. Well, outside temperatures have increased and improved here in Zone 5, Wisconsin over the last week plus, and it looks like we're in for a good stretch now where hopefully there are no more days of frost, but certainly it's warm enough for us to transition some of our indoor greens outdoors. We've been hardening off some of our seedlings for the last week or so, and these green stalks are no different. So today I'm going to be setting up this GreenStalk for outdoor use. I'm going to talk about some of the maintenance tips that we put in place whenever we're transitioning from outdoors to indoors and vice versa. I'm going to talk a little bit about hardening off these greens, and I'm going to show you the new setup for a watering system that GreenStalk just released. And I think it's a game changer. Now, there are a couple of pieces of maintenance I like to do anytime I'm disassembling and reassembling the GreenStalk setup, and one of them is to take out each of the catch trays here and give them a nice little cleaning. The reason I want to do that is to get rid of any debris that's in any of these small holes. These holes are what allow the water to flow down into each of the tiers. So I'm going to start off by doing that. And for me, this is a really simple process. I'm going to take a little dishwashing liquid, and I can use this for all of them. Spray a little water in here and then scrub until I get the holes cleared out. So these look really nice and clean. Again, the holes, you can see through all of them here. Hopefully you can see it on the camera. These are all set and ready to go back into the system. And then I'm going to take a look and see if there are any empty spots, any empty pockets in here. And in this case, I know for a fact we have a couple of them because I've been harvesting vegetables out of here. Some of the plants, their time had come, and so I want to decide what to plant in our empty pockets. So I'm going to tell you that I have 2 pockets we need to fill, and I'm going to ask you, our community, what we should plant in them. Right now we have kale in here, chard, eggplant, peppers, radishes, Paris Island Cost lettuce. We have ginger, and we have callaloo. So those are what we already have. What would you like to see us plant in our 2 empty pockets? We're going to listen to your suggestions once this video is released up until Sunday, and then we'll make our planting decisions from what you suggest. Folks, if you're interested in purchasing a GreenStalk or one of these watering systems that we're showing you today, now is a great time. There's a fantastic sale for Mother's Day going on, and if you see this video outside of that sale time, just know they do have a lot of really good sales on a regular basis, so it's a great time to get in there and get one of these systems. All right, let's take a brief moment and talk a little bit about hardening off vegetables. It's something that we've actually addressed in an earlier video, one that we did 2 years ago. But it's important to us that we take the vegetables that are coming from indoors, outdoors, and give it a little bit of time, a little bit of transition time, so that they don't just wilt away once we've planted them outdoors. I'm going to use my beets as an example for this. You can see I've been growing these indoors for the greens primarily, although you can see some really nice beets pulling up here in our GreenStalk. But if I just brought this outdoors when the temperatures are swinging 30, 40 degrees between daytime, nighttime, and you can see the impact of being out here in the sun directly now. And this is after a week of our having these on our covered porch. So that covered porch allowed for some indirect sunlight, but still getting accustomed to the weather outside. And keeping them close to the house means that we're also keeping some of the warmth of the house, and that helps to maintain some of the consistency and temperature as well. Well, these aren't going directly into ground. We're not disturbing the roots or anything like that. But again, we want to get them accustomed to being outside before we go whole hog and have them where we're going to place them here in our front yard and space. The spot where I'm kneeling right now is the flattened surface I made with some bricks, and this is where we're going to be placing our GreenStalk. I think it's important to keep your GreenStalk on a flat surface wherever you put it, so that all the systems work together properly to get the equal watering, etc. I'm going to go ahead and start setting it up, stacking it up here so we can get to our new watering system. One thing, when I set up my watering trays in here, I like to keep the holes facing toward the center of a pocket, so everything can run out into that pocket as I'm setting this up. One thing I love about the GreenStalk is just how quickly and easily it reassembles after disassembly. I accidentally cut off one of our beet leaves, but that's not a problem. That's a delicious problem. But now I'm gonna go ahead and unbox the new watering system, and I'm gonna show you what the setup looks like. I love seeing our packages arrive from GreenStalk. Absolutely, here we go. This setup is actually going to include 2 pieces. We have a Bluetooth timer and our watering system with the new black lid. I can't tell you how excited I am for this lid on here. I think that's a great addition to the GreenStalk. As the trees around our area get a little bit bigger, the leaves start to fall in the tops of the GreenStalk. So this is going to prevent any of that extraneous organic matter from getting down in our system and causing problems as we water. So great addition here. And then we have our setup, our hosing, and our watering system itself. And we also got the Bluetooth timer for a hose end so that we can set a timer so we don't have to come out and check the watering, turn it on, turn it off. It can take care of that for us. Let me go ahead and get this opened up and show you how to set it up. I'm gonna pop the lid on the top here. This is where we're going to be inputting our automatic watering system, and we're gonna run it right down the back side of this GreenStalk. Now, one of the things I wanna note here is inside this packaging, there's a really nice instruction book, and I'm gonna show you how to set it up, but this is there in case you miss any of the steps I talk about. They give you a nice picture too, so you can see what this is gonna look like when it's all said and done. And I would argue that the instructions are really nice and clear and detailed, and that's what I need. I think that's what most people need when they're trying to set something up new. And one of the things I really like is right here toward the back. The next to last page shows that you can set up multiple GreenStalks to the same watering system, and I think that is key as well. But one thing we definitely want to keep in mind is that wherever we place our GreenStalk, it needs to be near enough so that our watering hose can reach it. Otherwise, this isn't going to work at all. All right, let's go ahead and install. Well, the setup comes with 2 of these hoses, and these are set up for a standard original 5-tier or a 7-tier leaf system. So they're at that same height. If you have one of the shorter 3-tier systems, you'll have a little bit of cutting to do, but that shouldn't be that difficult. The first thing I'm going to grab out of my kit here are these little black clips. And these I'm going to assemble right on the corner edge of each of my tiers. Now, these may not line up exactly perfectly, but the tubing is a little bit flexible. I'm going to try to keep it so it becomes nice and vertical as much as I can though. All right, that's easy enough. I've got 5 on here. I have 2 clips left over. That's because this is for multiple setups. So if I had the 7-tier leaf system, I'd have enough clips for that. So you will have extra pieces depending on the assembly. And do notice that the clip side is out because that's where we're going to put our tubing. All right, next up, we're going to connect our main valve. That's the one with the green handle on it, to our tubing. We want to make sure the part that screws right here, this black piece, is screwed the whole way up. That's going to give us room to press our tubing onto. We'll just push it until it goes the whole way on here, and then we can counterclockwise twist and seal this tube in place to make it watertight. Next up, on the other end of this valve, we're going to screw on our spout, and that's just a clockwise motion until we've got it tight. And there we go. Then we have 2 pieces in here that look pretty similar. This is the hose adapter, and this is the tubing elbow. The difference is this one actually has the spot where you can fit a standard 1/2-inch hose in here. And so this is the one we need next. All right, now we're gonna take the other end of the tube. We're gonna do the same thing, the open end of the tube. We're gonna place the hose adapter on here, press it on the whole way, and complete the same process with a counterclockwise twist. And since the spout is going in this way, I'm gonna want to have the end where I install, where the hose goes in, I'm gonna wanna have that facing the opposite direction. If you don't get it just right, that's okay though, because this piece will still turn wherever you need it to go. And the final step is making sure that the spout is covered by the lid that's on here. And I'm just gonna go down and clip this in place. Now, because I don't have a base on this GreenStalk, it looks like the pipe is a little bit longer than it needs to be, so I could cut this off by probably a 1/2 inch. But for today's purposes, I think we're in good shape. I'm gonna go ahead and bring my hose, standard size hose, over here, and I'm gonna screw this on. And there's our setup. I would say if I weren't giving instructions, this probably would have taken me about 2 minutes to do. Now I'm gonna pop the top off so we can see once I turn the water on what this looks like. All right, here we go. I can adjust the amount of flow by twisting this knob. There we go. Okay, that's pretty good flow. Now the recommendation is I'm going to turn this off so you can hear me. The recommendation is for smaller crops to leave this on once a day for 1 to 2 minutes. I can adjust this as needed. Here's what it looks like at full force. It really pours out here. I'm going to close this up just like so. And I'm going to pop the lid right back on. A self-watering system. Now, all I have to do if I don't have a timer is come out and turn that on. I think that's going to be a little trial and error, a little bit of experimentation to see how long I really want it to run. But I can leave my hose on and just turn this off, or I can turn the hose off at the main spot. But rather than trucking water over now multiple gallons to get the whole way through the system, all I have to do is turn this knob. I told you it was going to be a game changer. Now let me show you the additional piece that we got for this, our Bluetooth hose timer. This is our hose end timer, and the watering system along with this Bluetooth system is for sale on the GreenStalk website. So that's where we got this. This one connects directly to the water source and is operated using a free app with Bluetooth communication. And in terms of programming options, this is a really cool setup because you can pick the specific day of the week. You can do it once every 1 up to 30 days, up to 5 times a day, for a duration of 1 minute to 12 hours. So this is going to be perfect for our needs. So I'm going to disconnect my main hose here. I'm going to go ahead and install my 2 AA batteries, which are not included, so you want to keep that in mind. I'm going to place the screen that comes with it into the female threaded end, and I'm going to screw this onto my water source. I don't ever want to over tighten anything that has plastic on it, but I do want to get it nice and snug. And now I can reattach my hose. Basically, this is going to enable me to run the entire system remotely. Now, I just downloaded the app. It took me 20 seconds to figure out how to turn this on every single day at 6 a.m. for 1 minute. And then I did a manual override so I could show it running, just make it run and then turn it on, turn it off. It works perfectly. And maybe the simplest thing out there. Right now, it's set once a day, 1 minute at a time. Again, you can play around with it and see how much water you really need. And there you go. That is really handy. Well, folks, that's a simple setup. We're so happy to be able to transition this GreenStalk back to outdoors. This is year number 3. Well, there's something else I wanted to mention here. I am a teacher, and the students who took the AP Lang exam said that the essay this year was about vertical farming. Well, we're not exactly vertical farming, but you better believe we're vertical gardening. Folks, if you enjoyed today's video, if you found that setup useful, if you're interested in the GreenStalk setup or have more questions, let us know in the comments. We hope that you did enjoy and find this video informative. I'm serious when I say this new watering system is going to be fantastic, especially as we start hooking up multiple systems here. It's going to save us time, and it's going to keep these watered the way we need them to be. We're going to experiment around with them a little bit to find that sweet spot for watering, but I don't think that's going to be difficult at all. If you did enjoy today's video, folks, don't forget to give us a like, leave us a comment, remember to share and subscribe, and most importantly, remember, when you're with us, you are good to grow.